I'm Jeremiah Boucher, a commercial real estate investor with over 20 years experience. This show is designed to help you build your business, become a better real estate investor, and help you see opportunities that will keep you ahead of the competition. This is Finding Your Edge.
We talk about, in the book, you talk about the 4 quarters, right, of your career. But for people that want to really get this thing going, you also talk about a 52-week and 52 quarter. Well, I shouldn't say quarters, but 52. We have 52
Games.
weeks. Yeah. And it's like every week you look at as like an NFL game, right? Where every single one is critical, right? Game 1 is critical to see if you're going to go to the playoffs, right? And the playoffs might be that, that whatever you're looking for at the end of your road there. But anyways, 52 weeks in a year. And if we take every day as important as my quarter, and we can really condense those things, I think people are going to be a little bit more active, a little bit more amped up, and a little bit more willing to, get after it more than if they think, well, I got 300, I got a whole year. It's like, well, no, you got 52 weeks, brother. Mm-hmm. And you think about it that way, I think people will get a little more urgency. And, I said this a million times, and I've told you, and I've said this in my podcast and this podcast, but, urgency is the key. You got to have urgency, or you're just going to be whimsically waiting for a deal to come on your desk. And I don't know about you, Jeremiah, but that's never happened for me. So it's for people growing and starting, it won't happen for you. That maybe happens later on in your career. But anyway, I thought that was really interesting when you said that.
Yeah. Robert Greene always talks about like these innovators, creators, masters of their craft. They have this desperation in the sense of like they have this fuel, like they either had a near life or near death experience, and they're desperate to get something done while they have this limited time while they're here.
Desperate is perfect for it, and not in a way where you're crying for something, but really, I am desperate to make this thing work. And I think you got to be a little bit paranoid too, right? Like, and I think that kind of maybe is you don't want to be on full paranoia, but you want to be right on that edge of paranoia and risk. And you want to be right there on the line there with like anxiety, not type all the way anxiety, but excitement where you're right on the line. And I think that's where we live every day. Some days you're in that anxious zone though. I ain't gonna lie to you.
It's beautiful, man. And I think the way we frame it out, I've always thought of it that way. We're big NFL fans. So when you have 52 weeks in a year, you're going to have a bad day. Everyone's going to have bad days. That's part of life. But you're not going to have a bad week. I mean, if you got your mindset and you got the right habits in place, then that foundation, you're not going to have a bad week.
No doubt.
So, you can bounce this thing and turn it around. So, and the whole public markets operate off of quarterly performance, and now we have, we really highlight our quarterly performance to a lot of our investors. So that's a great time where, within 30 days after the quarter, you assess this is how we did as a company and all these assets did with our budgets and our pro formas and all that good stuff. So that's how you keep score, on your quarterly, those different quarterly assessments of your company. You can see, and we'll pull it up on the next episode on these asset sheets that I have. It's a report card. It just shows you exactly what's our cash on cash to date. How much rent are we collecting per square foot? Are we on track for what we wanted or not? What's our multiple on invested capital? How much money have we got back? Or how much have we doubled our money over a period of time? Like, these are simple things that I can teach my nephews and nieces, where it doesn't need to be complicated. It's very simple in terms of, I give you money. How much am I going to get back? That's what all people want. Are you going to give me my money back plus double it, triple it? If I don't even get it back, if I lose it, so that's the basics of investing, man.
Right.
It's not complicated, but it's all shrouded in this complexity that's bullshit, so I get it. I see a lot of it. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a lot of technical aspects of business that you need to be able to pick up on things. I mean, it's very complicated, but to keep score, it's not. So to bring it back, 52 weeks a year, first quarter for us. And I know I want to hear what you're doing on your end. The secret to all this, and if you're a super nerd and you're listening to this because you love real estate, then the real secret you'll know is the money is in the data. The money is in the data. You got to get the deal first. This is where the rubber hits the road. So my first quarter is get the data dialed in, And it's, when you're thinking of that's the macro in terms of that's the thing that I need to really be a master at is getting this frequency of connections and contacts out there. It's just hard because it's a lot. It's complex where there's so many data points. We want to merge it together, but we're getting it dialed in. And then now it's really about honing in and having that nice dashboard and snapshot on each lead and classifying each lead and having good quality customer service and communication, and then getting to the motivated prospects. And those motivated prospects, we get offers, and those offers, we get signed contracts. And that is the impetus of the whole company.
It's absolutely beautiful. I think you nailed it with data being the most important piece. It's not just this, it's not just real estate. It's the most important part for any business is like the data or that information is where we get paid. Like if you can, it's really data equals revenue. Like if you can really get that data over somebody else, then you're going to win. And it's not just the data part, right? It's just going back to, there's no easy button for acquisition. I think acquisitions like is discipline. Like you have to have a discipline to want that more than the other person. And it blows my effing mind when I'm talking to CEOs of large commercial businesses, commercial real estate businesses, and they don't have an off-market strategy. I can't believe it. It doesn't make sense in my brain.
No.
So, and so that is our first quarter is going for us. We're 10 years behind a Jeremiah and his company, right? Or whatever. But we're looking at what they're doing and we're going, wow, this is amazing. But what we can do to separate, not quite from like a Jeremiah's business because they're doing this, but what can we do to separate ourselves from these larger companies in our area that are buying storage and multifamily? Well, we know that our separator has always been and always will be, we are willing to get on the phone and just grind and make those relationships. We don't expect to close day one, but we expect to connect day one. We expect to build a relationship day one. We expect to really make strides in those successful talking points with these people because they are people. People is the business. You got to be a people person to win in business. You have to communicate well. So if you want to separate, you got to understand, how do I communicate effectively and making sure that I am getting my point across and that if something happens to that owner, that they're thinking of me. If something, God forbid, happens and the owner dies or something along those lines or the divorce and there's something on the line and they have a piece of paper in front of them, it's my name and my number. And they go, I'm going to give this guy a call. So that's what we want. We want to be top of mind. And the only way to do that is through hard work of continuous conversation with these individuals. So we said, hey, there's a lot of this crap. The shiny object syndrome is what we had for a long time. Now, yes, we flip and we still do that, pays the bills. Awesome. Love it. But shiny object syndrome, actually, Jeremiah, you wrote a post and I wrote it down. And what you said was something along the lines of, is mastering your craft. Okay. And that is what gives you supreme confidence. So Jeremiah mastered his craft with not just, the mobile home parks at the beginning, but it was really the acquisition. Now it's self-storage and building that and the management and going vertical with that and all those great things. But in my opinion, when he was talking about this, I go, yeah, the shiny object syndrome is really so bad because you're 99% most likely not to hit gold in those. You're looking at something shiny. You're 99% on your first at bats, you're not going to hit that gold that you're looking for on that first time. So if you don't give that one thing that you're going after time, and you don't give yourself the time to master that craft, you're going to be less confident. So that really hit home. We've talked about it, my partners and my people and my companies. So we're saying, no, we're going to go after the 4 commercial properties this year that we want to make X amount of money from. And that is it. Everything else is bullshit. And that's what we're going after.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Any way you slice it, the YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of that horse shit, it doesn't, none of that matters. None of it, none of the talking about storage or apartments or houses. This is the shit that makes money.
Yes. Building
relationships, not taking advantage of anybody, finding value, finding people in the fourth quarter that don't want to fuck with it anymore. You go in there, you have the infrastructure. So in the beginning, I was limited. I got great at acquisitions. I got great at the data. I got great at making a lot of communication and contacts. and I cranked, and I was very accommodating. I did whatever they wanted within reason in terms of getting the contract the way they wanted it, simplify the process. Easy, man, made it so easy, and no friction. I want these people to just really enjoy the process to sell. And then from there, though, I was limited where I didn't capital raise enough. I didn't have a good management team. I didn't have a construction team. I didn't really have the ability to get debt in the beginning. I really didn't have the optics or the marketing. I didn't understand really how to grow my business. All I was good at was acquisitions. And that was fine. And that got me where I'm at. And I had to go through this maturation process to become a businessman. So I'm glad I went through that process. And yes, it might seem simple, like somebody that's driven like us to go on the phone or do mass texts and get someone to say yes and sign a contract. That's just the beginning, though. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to run out of dry powder. You're not going to have the money. You're not going to have the experience to get the debt. You're not going to be able to manage it all. You're not going to be able to add the value through it or really have the accounting system set up. So I had to learn all that, on the back end, but this is the foundation right here. And then all that other stuff you're going to learn, right? If you're committed and you bust your ass and you figure it out and you work hard and you treat people good. So it was challenging though, because you're like, shit, how am I going to grow my business where, number one, like I have no money and I don't even know really how to buy and sell deals. And then it seems like an endless ocean of just leads wherever you get rejected for weeks and weeks and weeks and even years. And then you finally get some people to sign a contract and you really applied all your mental energy and effort to finding that contract. And then you think, oh, I won, it's over. I got it. And then that's really where the journey begins. It's just when you started with the asset. So and again, I was so short-sighted in the way I saw this business. But don't get me wrong, lock up the deal. Pump, if you're watching this, you're putting money into your education or time, and then you get your hands dirty. But then it's a flip side, because now you're focused on operations and you're digging in, you're scaling your assets, and then you look around and you're like, shit, I didn't do the time and effort into my acquisitions again.
Right.
And then you slow, and it's every business owner's battle of the balance between sales and marketing and operations and management. And it's just like you're constantly, going back and forth, and it's a journey, man. But it's now as you pull it all together, the money is made in the management where, anyone can get out there and do sales and it's not easy, but anyone can do it. Right. And you could go out and cold call, 1 million people can watch this and go out and talk to 1 million different storage owners. And that's an admirable thing. But if you don't have the infrastructure where you got the money, the equity from the fund, from the capital, actual investors to give you that cash to go invest, and two, you don't have the back end system to actually manage all the assets, I mean, then you're going to be stuck doing what I did, is just referring off these assets, making a little fee, and you're back to square one, doing it again. The real money is in owning all this stuff long term. So that's the other reason to pull this thing around full circle is, if you got the right piece of real estate. The richest guys I've ever met don't really sell much. I don't see, they own this shit for decades and generations. So if you got good pieces of real estate and you work that hard and you can take them down and add value, I hate to see dumping them. Might as well just scale this stuff up and grow it over decades.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I think that's as we continue learning and, doing this, it's like the people, why sell when the hardest part is to find the deal and then get it where it's making money and you do the value add. Why would you sell after that? Now it's time to keep it. You did all the work. But again, there's different reasons why, right? You want to figure this out as you kind of go, and maybe you got a reason to upsell into something larger and better, right? So
a big bad opportunity that you have a lot of value, and everything that you have behind you, all your team and resources and your talents allow you to accelerate the value of the new opportunity.
Absolutely.
That's why real business guys sell.
Because there's another better opportunity.
Yeah, that fits to you. It fits to you. Like if it was as wrestlers, it was the perfect tournament for us. Like you knew you could take that tournament down, so it might not have been the best tournament for everybody, but but you knew that was the best one. So who cares? Get out of the other one, go compete in this one, and you can win it.
Yeah, Buddy is not in this weight class this time, so I can go in and dominate. Because if it's me and Buddy, Buddy's always there at the semifinals, and he always stops me from going to the finals. But anyway, No, that's excellent. Yeah. And it's really just, again, it's the first thing though, in my opinion. And I've talked about this with, partners that I've had, is like, listen, at the end of the day, the acquisition, it really is the most, in my opinion. And I know I'm a sales guy, right? And I know Jeremiah's a sales guy, but it really is the most important part, because the other stuff is, again, critical. But golly, is there nothing more important than a really good deal?
You don't have a business if you don't have deals.
Yeah.
Yep. So that is the game, man. First quarter. It's about getting these database dialed in and making shitloads of contacts. I wish it was more exciting news. But I'll have to tell you, I mean, yeah, we can all get operations dialed in and we'll talk all about that. But right now it's about deals.
Well, that's actually the good news, is that it is something that it's not easy, but it's simple. And it's making connections, staying on top of those connections, making the offer that works for you, making sure that you at least give them an offer and not, leave that up to chance. You want to at least have something sent to them.
Communicate it too. Communicate it effectively.
Yes. And here's why.
Yes. We've been doing our offer packages, a brochure about who we are, a simple letter of intent outlining the price and terms, a list of references that we, banks and sellers, where we've done this 100 times. And then we go into the underwriting, and it's a simple output sheet. Yesterday I went on a Zoom meeting where actually, like, the lady was blown away that she could go on my Zoom, and I had the P&L on one side that her accountant gave me, and I have our 2-line Excel with income and expenses and the NOI on the other side, and I matched it with hers, and I had to show her one by one, her and her husband, and she's like, "Oh, that's why it's worth that. That makes sense." So that was, that's it right there. It's not in the information. It's in how you present it. It's how it gets presented, man.
And that's the clip, ladies and gentlemen, that we're going to use. It really is. It's how you present it. It truly is. And it's educating the seller on, here's why it's this number. And what your NOI was is different than mine because of actually what we're looking at. And here, again, here's what we have to look at when we go to buy something, because this is the first time they've ever sold something. We're buying and selling constantly. Right. This is their baby. So you have to make sure you're addressing it as such and making sure that they're being educated the entire time. And at the same time they're being educated, you're building rapport constantly. You're building your credibility constantly. And just that little Zoom thing, I've never heard of that. I didn't know that, where you can do the both on both sides. I think that's a fucking great take for people to take with them, whatever you're buying. But if you can do that and bring them in and they can see, hey, here's what I'm looking at and here's what you sent me and here's why it's my number, you're going to win.
And that model is very simple. I mean, I'll have to show us. So you
Absolutely.
And the guys on this, very basic. And that's where it needs to be. Not too many cells, not too many numbers. And I'm excited. We're rolling out this patriotcalc.com, and it's our Patriot calculator. And it's just how to analyze deals in 2-3 minutes. Just put a few key numbers in. Are you close or you're not? So it's really an effective tool, and that helps you save so much time because it's all about velocity and frequency of looking at deals.
And if you have a really good one, you can hit submit. It'll go right to their database, and then you can, they'll help you. They'll help you buy that. They'll buy that from you if you got something like that.
You don't have to show it. It's private. Everyone can put it in there on their own.
Well, we should have that button. Anywho, well, that's good. That's solid. That's a good first quarter. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I think that is a great ending to this. And in the next quarter, we can see exactly how this is all worked out, and making sure that Marty doesn't have any more shining object syndromes, and he's sticking to the plan that he said he was. Because we do this because, especially for me, so that I can be accountable. Jeremiah, what are your thoughts?
I'll hold it to you. Don't worry.
Love it.
Stick with it.
Any last messages for the crowd here?
I see this game as you're just taking a ton of information and you're collecting it and organize it and separating it and putting all these different boxes. And then you got to get a nice, clean, simple, like primer, a little page. It just tells you how you can make a decision. Like, this has been very helpful for me, is condensing information so I can make a decision. And I want to really share that with people. I feel like I have this skill where I can take this complex subject and we can break it down into very small components that are simple, like chunk it 3 to 5 3 to 5 different like chunks, and we can easily be able to evaluate how to make a good decision. So I'm gonna share with the group with the rest of this year how we do the underwriting this quickly, and I can see how I sequentially analyze any deal immediately. And I just want to do this reps and reps and reps and reps. So when you look at a deal, you look at it through the lens of a really good deal maker where there's no ego involved. There's no like bravado or anything. It's just, you're just looking at it and playing the game. This is the opportunity that's there. We can get the revenue here, expenses here, NOI here, the whole thing, just go down. This is how we lever it. This is where we can get creative. This is where the returns are going to be. This is the risk. This is the reward. And this is the resources that I have. Like, I got $1 million. Is this really worth it? Or is this opportunity cost going to crush me and I'm stuck in this thing and I can't go reinvest in a bunch of other assets? So like I got this, I just feel so laser focused on this. And we just finished the course on how to buy and sell storage and how to build
it's a great
storage.
course. It's a fantastic course.
And we're going to pump it out. And I'm committed to this and spending this extra time to teach people and then go play the game myself. I'm not here fucking doing this because I want to just share and show how much I know. I want to do this so I can actually help people go buy these things on their own or come to us like you and partner with us. And we have good synergies and people make good business decisions and they take control of their financial future. That's it.
Well, that's pure gold. I look forward to that. I know everyone's looking forward to that. And I know that's only going to help grow this community. It's going to help grow people's portfolios and it's going to help grow people's money. And that's why we're here. So anyways, that is the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Week one down.
They're all important from that point. Bye-bye.
For more information on commercial real estate investing, go to patriotholdings.com. Thanks for listening to Finding Your Edge.